Considering Elizabeth's experience and the encounters she had with certain characters, she makes the statement to display how unfair society can be to people who have good character. During this time, appearance was everything to people, and a recurring theme that Jane Austen is constantly criticizing through the characters in her novel Pride and Prejudice. Elizabeth and Jane discover that Mr. Bingley will probably not come back for Jane, which causes Elizabeth to criticize the society that she lives in with her statement. Elizabeth argues that someone like Jane, who is portrayed as having merit and sense, are not acknowledged or appreciated, since society only focuses on external appearances and wealth. Jane Austen uses irony in the text by showing Elizabeth's pride and prejudice that she holds against characters like Mr. Collins and Mr. Darcy. Despite criticizing how others judge only on appearance, Austen highlights the irony of this statement through Jane when she tries to denounce Elizabeth's criticism. It is very often nothing but our own vanity that deceives us. Austen 93.
Well, the reader can infer what Jane Austen views as an ideal relationship through Elizabeth's quote and views of unfairness of Mr. Bingley's decision to stay in London. Jane refuses to believe that Bingley's sisters had anything to do with going away, and insists that the sisters only want him to be happy. But Elizabeth counters that the idea by revealing the true intention of the Bingley sister, they may wish things besides his happiness, his increase of wealth, to marry a girl who has all the importance of money, great connection, and pride. Austen 94. In adding this to her novel, Jane Austen reveals that her ideal relationship involves not marrying for social status and appearances, but loving someone because of their true character.
As I was saying, cousin, Lady Catherine is a wonderful woman, and she expects you to be at Rosing Parks.
Oh, I am flattered, but I must reject.
My dear Elizabeth, it's been an honor being with you.
I am thankful for your company. However,
You must resist the temptation to leave me.
It's all splendid and all, but my thoughts have to recollect on this. I can't.
Fair point. But I'm interested in your hand in marriage.
Mr. Collins, I can't.
Miss Elizabeth, I am disappointed in your decision. I was expecting a more reflective point.
Mr. Collins, I thank you for your proposal. But it's just impossible to accept. My thoughts, they forbid it. Can I speak plainer? Can I speak plainer? I am not only an elegant woman. Think of me as not an elegant woman. Think of me as a rational creature with speaking from the heart. Is that what I assume it is? Oh, seriously. This man's gonna be happy about this.
Dear Charlotte, would you accept my hand in marriage?
Mr. Collins, why, of course I would. But may I ask how you came to this proposal?
Since I first laid eyes on you, and I have built up the courage to finally ask.
Well, I have no choice but to accept your amazing offer in marriage. Why, hello, my dear Elizabeth. Have you heard any exciting news lately?
No, I haven't.
Mr. Collins has asked me for his hand in marriage. Can you believe it?
Oh, I saw Charlotte. I saw your proposal to Mr. Collins. I'm so glad. But are you sure you're going to be happy with this Mr. Collins? You and him are such different characters.
With time, Elizabeth. I discovered that Mr. Collins is not as bad as he seems. We both have our differences, but over time we can accept each other.
It's quite a different opinion that I would take, Mr. Collins.
Goodbye, Elizabeth. I hope with time you can accept this.
I can't believe her and Mr. Collins are gonna get married.
Oh, how wonderful that Collins and Charlie got married. Don't you agree, Mr. Bennett? It's such a wonderful marriage. I cannot wait for them to be as happily as ever. I do wish Elizabeth did accept that proposal with Collins. It would have been great for our family.
Quite yes. A marriage as wonderful as theirs requires a very humble and handsome man to be her husband.
I cannot wait for my dear Jane to marry Mr. Bingley. One can only hope. Oh, what the dress that she must wear, and all the food and decorations. Though we must waste a pretty penny on that. Don't you agree, Mr. Bennett?
Yes, how lovely and caring a mother Jane and Charlotte must have.
Oh, it's gonna be a wonderful dinner. I'll invite Mr. Bingley as well. Ah, if only my dear Elizabeth would have been married.
Is this how husband talks to wife?
Excuse me?
Oh, now you hear me.
Are you speaking to me or are you just babbling?
All you speak, all your vocabulary is insults. Is this what your marriage? Is this what you want your marriage to be?
You speak so ill of marriage, and towards my husband no less. After you rejected the proposal by the kind Mr. Collins to not only save our family and get you married, you have not only disappointed myself, but your father and your family. Think of what Jane must be feeling.
Every
right now.
conversation you have with Mr. Bennett, it's just a conversation with you and yourself.
What do you mean? Mr. Bennett listens to everything I say. Isn't that right?
Oh, sorry, what?
This is what the marriage has been.
Good afternoon, my dear Jane. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. Well, better now, actually. Such a beautiful day. Tell me, do you enjoy living in this town?
I do love living here in Hemingway. My family and friends are so close together, which brings me happiness. Do you feel the same way about living here?
It tends to get a bit boring. After all, the only thing exciting is the balls, and nonetheless, there aren't that pretty girls to dance with.
Don't be so foolish. I don't think you should leave to London.
And why is that, my dear Jane?
I don't know. I feel like we have so much ahead of us, such as the winter ball.
Well, I don't. Goodbye, my dear Jane. I hope you have a pleasant life.
Jane, why do you look so distressed? It's such a beautiful day like this. The sun is out, the sky is blue. Such a perfect day for a stroll. Come on, let's talk. Let's walk and talk about it.
Do you think the Bingleys will ever return? I want to see Mr. Bingley soon.
I would hope for Mr. Bingley to return, but I wouldn't trust on it, Jane.
But will I still
Jane,
be...
I wouldn't trust on it. He leaves without warning, and he doesn't seem like he's gonna return. I don't see any love here.
Why do you say that, Mr. Bingley, though? He was literally such a good man, and he was the man of my dreams.
I see no love between you and Mr. Bingley. He just leaves without warning.
Do you not believe in love anymore? Is that what it is? Because I was planning to marry him already. I wanted to marry him already.
Oh, I believe in love. I see no love between you two. Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bennett would agree with me. There's stern looks on their faces.
Why are you being so foolish? I literally loved Mr. Bingley.
There's no warning there's no warning in his read. I see no love. Why are you saying that?
Good evening, my dear Elizabeth. How are you on this fine day?
I'm great, Mr. Darcy, but my sister Jane right now is not so well.
Oh, well, I'm sorry that you have surrounded yourself in these horrible events. However, we must discuss the more important things first.
What important things? What? I don't see any problem that needs to be solved, Mr. Darcy.
Well, this is what I mean. My dear Elizabeth, from the very first day I met you, I knew that I was very much in love with you. That I knew that a fruitful and prideful man like me can love someone like you, as lovely as you. I want you to marry me.
Mr. Darcy, I can't marry you. You called me intolerable the first time around. There's so many reasons why I wouldn't want to marry you. You would make me the most unhappiest of wives.
Really? Well, I am offering you my hand right now, and you seem to be rejecting my love for you. Now, once you fully reject this offer, I am never to offer you this hand again. And I wish you farewell and your horrible situation that you're in with your family. And I am shocked that you wanted to stay in this situation. Goodbye, my dear Elizabeth.
How can I marry such a crude man like Mr. Darcy? Just fills me with blind rage. He has such a poor vanity. There's nothing about him that I would like. I'd just be the unhappiest wife out there.
Elizabeth, where's Biggie?
Why were you my daughter?
Is Biggie coming back?
Why won't you marry me? I can't respect
Does Biggie want me?
There are few people whom I really love, and still fewer of whom I think well. The more I see of the world, the more I am dissatisfied with it, and every day it confirms my belief of the inconsistency of all human characters, and of the little dependence that can be placed on the appearance of either merit or sense.